When most people think of a U.S. Navy destroyers, they picture missiles, lots of missiles, and they're not wrong. A modern American destroyer can launch cruise missiles hundreds of miles away, shoot down aircraft traveling at supersonic speeds, and track dozens of threats simultaneously. But here's the strange part. Some of the most dangerous weapons aboard these warships aren't the ones everyone talks about. They're the systems hidden behind steel hatches, the weapons designed for enemies that never appear on the evening news, the weapons that can destroy incoming missiles in seconds, hunt submarines beneath the ocean, and in some cases, strike targets far beyond the horizon. Today, we're looking at the crazy weapons on U.S. destroyers that most people never knew existed. And by the end, you'll understand why a single destroyer is often considered one of the most heavily armed ships on Earth. At first glance, the deck of a U.S. Navy destroyer doesn't look particularly threatening. You can see the bridgeum, the radar arrays, the main gun, but the ship's real firepower is hidden in plain sight. Scattered across the deck are dozens of rectangular steel hatches. Most visitors walk right past them without a second thought. Yet beneath those hatches sits one of the most important weapon systems ever developed for naval warfare, the Mark 41 Vertical Launch System, or simply the VLS. Unlike traditional warships of the past, modern destroyers don't rely on large external missile launchers. Instead, missiles are stored vertically inside armored cells embedded directly into the ship. Think of them as giant missile silos hidden beneath the deck. A typical Arleigh Burke-class destroyer carries between 90 and 96 launch cells, depending on the variant. And here's where things get interesting. The cells themselves aren't tied to one specific weapon. Each cell can hold a completely different type of missile. One cell might contain a Tomahawk cruise missile. The next might hold an anti-aircraft interceptor. Another could carry an anti-submarine rocket. This means commanders can customize the ship's arsenal depending on the mission. Preparing for air defense, load more interceptor missiles. Hunting submarines, load anti-submarine weapons. Supporting operations ashore, load Tomahawks. Few military platforms in the world offer this level of flexibility. It's one of the reasons U.S. destroyers remain among the most versatile warships ever built, and it's only the beginning. If the Mark 41 launch cells are the destroyer's arsenal, the Tomahawk is arguably its most famous weapon. For decades, the Tomahawk cruise missile has been one of America's preferred tools for striking distant targets, and for good reason. Modern Tomahawks can travel more than 1,000 miles before reaching their target. That's farther than the distance between New York City and Chicago. What makes the weapon remarkable isn't just its range, it's how it gets there. Unlike ballistic missiles that climb high into the atmosphere, Tomahawks fly low, very low, often just a few hundred feet above the ground or ocean surface. Using terrain-following navigation systems, they weave around obstacles and approach targets from unexpected directions. This makes them extremely difficult to detect. Over the years, destroyers have launched Tomahawks during operations in Iraq, Syria, Afghanistan, and other conflict zones. The beauty of the system is simple. A destroyer doesn't need to approach the coastline. It can remain hundreds of miles offshore while still influencing events deep inland. To an enemy commander, the threat is unsettling. At any moment, a missile could emerge from over the horizon without warning, and thanks to the destroyer's missile cells, dozens of these weapons can potentially be carried aboard a single ship. But as powerful as the Tomahawk is, it isn't designed to defend the destroyer itself. For that mission, the Navy relies on something even more impressive. Destroyers don't just attack, they defend. And modern naval warfare revolves around a terrifying reality. Missiles, enemy aircraft, and warships can launch anti-ship missiles from hundreds of miles away. These weapons often travel at high speeds and can devastate a ship if they reach their target. That's where the Standard Missile family comes in, particularly the SM-6. At first glance, the SM-6 looks like another interceptor missile. In reality, it's one of the most versatile weapons currently deployed by any navy. The missile can engage enemy aircraft, it can destroy cruise missiles, it can attack surface vessels, and under certain circumstances, it can even engage ballistic missile threats. In military terms, that's extraordinary flexibility. Its speed exceeds Mach 3. That means it's traveling more than 3 times the speed of sound. The missile works closely with the destroyer's powerful radar systems. Together, they create a defensive bubble around the ship. threats can be detected, tracked, and engaged long before they become visible to the human eye. For sailors aboard the destroyer, that's reassuring, because modern naval battles may be decided long before opposing ships ever see one another. Yet even the SM-6 isn't the most technologically impressive interceptor on board. For that, we need to look higher, much higher. Most naval weapons fight in the air, some fight on the sea, others fight beneath it, but very few are designed to fight in space. The SM-3 interceptor is one of them. Part of the Navy's ballistic missile defense system, the SM-3 was developed to destroy incoming ballistic missiles during the middle phase of flight. That's the portion of the journey that occurs outside Earth's atmosphere. Think about that for a moment. A destroyer floating on the ocean can potentially engage a target hundreds of miles above the planet. And unlike traditional missiles, the SM-3 doesn't rely on a large explosive warhead. Instead, it uses kinetic energy. In simple terms, it hits the target directly. Engineers often compare the challenge to hitting a bullet with another bullet, except both bullets are traveling thousands of miles per hour. The level of precision required is astonishing. Several successful tests have demonstrated the system's ability to intercept ballistic targets under realistic conditions. This capability transformed destroyers into something far beyond conventional warships. They're now part of a much larger missile defense network, a network capable of protecting military forces, allies, and even entire regions from ballistic missile attacks. It's one of the most advanced defensive capabilities ever placed aboard a ship. Yet despite all this technology, one of the destroyer's oldest weapons remains surprisingly important. Many people assume large naval guns disappeared when missiles arrived. That's not true. In fact, every Arleigh Burke-class destroyer still carries a 5-inch Mark 45 naval gun mounted prominently on the bow. And despite its traditional appearance, it's far from outdated. The gun can fire between 16 and 20 rounds per minute, depending on the situation. Its range extends for miles, and it remains useful for several critical missions, destroying small surface threats, supporting forces ashore, providing warning shots, and engaging targets when using an expensive missile simply doesn't make sense. This is an important reality of warfare. Not every problem requires a million-dollar missile. Sometimes a guided shell is the smarter choice. The gun also provides commanders with options. If a destroyer encounters smaller threats, it doesn't have to waste valuable long-range missiles. Instead, the Mark 45 can respond quickly and effectively. For decades, naval guns have adapted to new technologies and new battlefields, and despite repeated predictions of their demise, they remain an essential part of modern naval warfare. But what happens if every other layer of defense fails? What if an enemy missile somehow gets through? That's when one of the most terrifying weapons aboard the ship finally comes alive. Imagine you're aboard a destroyer in combat. Enemy missiles have already slipped through multiple layers of defense. The radar operators have done their job. The interceptors have been launched, but one missile keeps coming. It's closing the distance in seconds. At that point, the crew has one final guardian standing between the ship and disaster: the Phalanx Close-In Weapon System, better known to sailors as the Sea Whiz. At first glance, it looks almost comical. A white dome sitting on the deck, but hidden inside is one of the most feared defensive weapons ever placed aboard a warship. The Phalanx combines radar, computers, and a 6-barrel, 20mm Gatling gun into a single automated system. Once activated, it can detect, track, and engage threats without human intervention. Its reaction time is measured in seconds, and its firepower is astonishing. The gun can unleash approximately 4,500 rounds per minute. That's roughly 75 rounds every second. Imagine a solid stream of metal tearing through the air toward an incoming missile. The goal isn't to simply damage the target, it's to destroy it before it reaches the ship. Many people compare the system to science fiction, a robotic gun that thinks and shoots for itself, but for sailors it's very real. Because when every other defense fails, the Phalanx becomes the last thing standing between the crew and catastrophe. And while missiles dominate headlines, another deadly threat often lurks somewhere the crew can't even see, beneath the waves. Unlike aircraft or missiles, they can remain hidden for days or even weeks. A submarine may detect a destroyer long before the destroyer detects it, which creates a serious problem. How do you attack something you can't see? The Navy's answer is surprisingly clever. It's called ASROC, short for anti-submarine rocket. The weapon combines two entirely different systems into one. First, a rocket launches from the destroyer. The rocket flies toward the estimated location of the submarine. Then, something unusual happens. Instead of exploding, the rocket releases a torpedo. The torpedo enters the water and begins searching for its target. In other words, the destroyer uses a rocket to deliver another weapon. This dramatically increases engagement range. Instead of slowly moving closer to the submarine, the destroyer can immediately send a torpedo many miles away. For submarine crews, that means even staying hidden isn't always enough. If the destroyer knows roughly where you are, it can quickly put a weapon in your vicinity. It's one of the most ingenious anti-submarine systems ever developed. But destroyers don't stop there, because they carry traditional torpedoes too. Destroyers don't rely solely on ASROC. They also carry Mark 54 lightweight torpedoes. These weapons are launched from triple torpedo tubes mounted on both sides of the ship. Designed specifically for anti-submarine warfare, they combine advanced sonar with sophisticated targeting systems. Many people don't even realize destroyers carry torpedoes, yet they're a crucial layer of defense. Not every battle is fought with explosions. Modern warfare increasingly revolves around information. Who sees first? Who tracks first? Who understands the battlefield first? That's where electronic warfare enters the picture. Many destroyers are equipped with systems such as the AN/SLQ-32 Electronic Warfare Suite. Unlike traditional weapons, these systems don't launch missiles or shells. Instead, they fight with signals. They listen for enemy radar. They identify threats. They analyze electronic emissions. And in some situations, they can interfere with enemy targeting systems. Think of it as electronic deception. An incoming missile may believe it's tracking the destroyer, but sophisticated countermeasures can confuse its sensors. Decoys can be deployed, false targets can be created, tracking systems can be disrupted. To the outside observer, nothing appears to happen. No explosions, no gunfire, no missile launches. Yet an invisible battle is taking place. And often, the side that wins that battle gains an enormous advantage before the first shot is ever fired. In many ways, electronic warfare has become one of the most important capabilities aboard modern warships. But the future may bring something even more extraordinary. Weapons powered not by explosives, but by electricity. The next generation of destroyer weapons may be even more surprising. The Navy continues testing directed energy weapons, high-energy lasers, hypersonic missile technologies. Some future destroyers could engage threats using electricity rather than ammunition. A concept that once sounded impossible is becoming reality. When people see a destroyer, they see a ship. What they don't see is a floating network of weapons, sensors, computers, and sailors working together every second of the day. From missile interceptors capable of hitting targets in space to automated guns that can destroy incoming missiles in mere moments to underwater weapons, hunting threats hidden beneath the waves. These ships are far more than warships. They are some of the most complex machines ever sent to sea. And perhaps the craziest part of all, most people will never realize just how much firepower is hidden beneath those steel decks.